Good morning, everybody. Ace of Trades here again today. Bible says in James chapter 2 verse 10, "For whosoever shall keep the whole law, yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all." So I wanted to ask you, are you trusting in your own works and your own righteousness, or following some sort of precepts in your mind to attain eternal salvation? I pray today you'd trust in Jesus and lay aside your own works for salvation. All right. Today we got a clearly defined opening range here. We set our opening highs here, opening lows here. And we're about 30 seconds from the open. And it looks like we're trying to move up towards the other side of this range. So we'll see what we get here. Again, we're trading 2000 tick chart primarily with 21 EMA. And we checked our news for this morning. And the news for this morning that we had to worry about is already passed at 8:30, the core retail sales. So we have nothing else on the calendar, it looks like, today that we have to worry about from a news standpoint. So let's just see what we get here. We got this kind of just a couple moves up, moves down, this waterfall, and then a retest. And it looks like we're now retesting this high. We'll just sit here a couple minutes and see what happens. We haven't had much activity overnight, so this might be a kind of a slow day today. Basically, here is basically where the market opened up at 6 o'clock, and we haven't had a whole lot of activity overnight. Stuck in this pretty well-defined range, so we'll see what we get. Have to be careful when you have the trend up and you're getting close to these highs. Sometimes the trend, even if you get a break, a trend won't play out because the range is superseding the trend. And so, you might just get like down here, you had this move down. You did get this break, but if you look here, if we were watching this in real time overnight, you got this down, and you had this two legs back into the EMA, but it just bounced out of there because this support was overriding the trend. When you're in a range, you have to be careful about following trend rules because the range will sometimes override the trend. Now, if your range is big enough and your trends are happening within the range, like maybe this range was twice as big and you had this trend up, well, you can trade your trend rules in a range that's large enough for it to be happening. But you have to be careful about trading your trend rules whenever you're within a defined range, and especially when you're near the extremes of that range, because sometimes the resistance and the support will override your trend trying to play out, and it'll just push against you. So I'm just going to stop it here because I don't want this video to get too long. I was thinking about maybe like on Fridays, I was thinking about maybe just doing a video where I've got like maybe 2 to 3 hours of just continuous live trading that I'm doing, or a lot of it's waiting around for trades, just so you can kind of see what's going on. I can talk through that session as the price action is playing out. Um, I'm trying to kind of give you perspective of what's going on during the day, throughout the day, and not have videos to be being too large, trying to keep them somewhere between a half hour and an hour. So, but maybe on Fridays I'll do maybe like a morning continuous session of price action and kind of talk about what I'm seeing and as things are playing out just continuously instead of pausing the video. Those videos are gonna take a long time to upload and process, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll try that this Friday, just doing like a morning session where I'm just for maybe from like the open till like maybe like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe like open till lunch, because typically around 11:30, 12, the market, unless it's just a huge volume day, the market tends to slow down and it's very boring once you get into the lunchtime hours, and sometimes it'll pick back up around last couple hour or 2 hours of the day, but usually the best trading happens in the morning, and you get the most activity. So this already looks very subdued for today, so we'll see how it goes. I'll be back in a little while. Okay, guys, quick check-in here. All right, so when we left, we were right here, around here. All right, and I said about trends not playing out. Well, this one didn't. You can see we just chopped around here at the resistance, and then we pushed down. And I said, if you're if you have a trend going and you have enough room down to the other side of the range, where you can look to trade that trend. So here we trend down. We have this break of this move down, and I was looking for like two legs here to get a trade for this move down, make a new low, and all we get is this. We get this one leg, and you might call it a low or high, and then it just pushes down. We don't push all the way back down here, but we get this break, new low for this move down, and then we start pushing back up. And some people, they'll be tempted, real tempted to take this trade. Number one, you're in a range, so you got to be careful, especially when we're at the lows here of this range. Not at the lows, but we're very near the lows. This is already broken and made a new low, and this looks like some people, this look like one leg, two legs, and that we're resisting the EMA. And depending on your target, you may have gotten something there. It's just not safe, especially a number of reasons. I've already described a couple, and plus you're shorting right into this swing. So how do we know that buyers aren't going to come in right near this swing again and push it up? It barely pushes down for 2 points or something, and then it just you know pushes up. Would have stopped you out here, pushes back down one more time, and then goes the other way. And then we rip all the way back up through the EMA, and I drew these two legs. And then you're looking for prices to, once they break out, you're looking for prices to they're going to try to fade back into this range at some point. We didn't get anything to try to you also want room to these highs, because like I mentioned in other videos, prices, once they get out of a resistance area, or once they would push out of a support area, they will like to come back and test that again before, if they're going to sustain the breakout of a range or of a trend, they'll like to test that. They'll like to test, prices like to retest levels of support and resistance when they get out of them. And so what happened is we broke out, and we tested this level for a little bit, and now we've broken out higher. And looks like we've got a break and a new high here on this. So we may come back with this channel broken and making a new high. We may now try to fade back down here. We'll see whether when this pushes down, if this EMA holds and it keeps grinding higher, or if it's going to push through there and make more attempts to fade back into the range. So I'd be looking for a lower high here, but now this EMA is creeping up very close. So if you got a lower high, you'd be, say it closed around here, you'd be very close to running into this EMA for any kind of trade. So, and that all happened because this hesitation here allowed this EMA to catch up to prices. And so now on lower highs, we're like right back into the EMA. So just got to be careful there. So what I'd be looking for here is, to get a trade, I'm hoping that with this break and new high, maybe prices will push back down into the range, and maybe we'll get some sort of couple legs back holding in this area. If it pushes back down, it may try to come back and retest the support resistance line here before it goes down. So we'll just keep an eye on it. That's what I see for now. And Yeah, I'll be back again in a little bit. All right, guys. So just like I was saying, here's price uh, falling back into the range. I'm looking for a couple of legs up here to get a short to take another leg down. So let's see if that happens. I'll just mute the mic for now. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. I'm not looking for a short now. This pushed down, made one leg up, tried to make a second leg up, made this lower high, which you don't want to take because it's right into this swing. And we'll see. Sometimes these push up irregularly, like past points where you'd like to see the entries happen, and then they'll dump back down. But this is pushed way too high for me because now if you were to get a bar here, now you're shorting back into here, and maybe what this was going to want to do is test this again like it tested it here and push higher. So that would likely trap you in, and then it goes this way. So there's just no trade on the table for me right now. So I'm just going to pause the video here, and we'll just sit and wait. Okay, quick update here, guys. So we had this move up, break, new high. We were looking for this price faded down, tried to fade the range like I expected that it might. We didn't get a setup and then just pushed higher. I just want to show you what I was doing here. So um, after I got, so this, pushed down, it couldn't even fade as far as this, on the next attempt. Immediately reversed, went higher, pushed back down, and was trying to hold the overnight high here now. Um, And so when we got this, when it started doing that again, I drew something like this thinking, we'll just keep an eye on that. Maybe there is a range here. And if this pushes way back up to the highs, or not a range, a trend, maybe there's a trend here that's developing. If it pushes back up to the highs, then I'm liking it as something that's valid. But it didn't. It just kind of petered out and just fell back down. So at that point, I'm taking this off. I'm not using this anymore. It's not, doesn't appear valid to me. Again, just a couple legs up, started forming what looks like a range or a trend, right? And then, starts to bounce here again. So I'm not going to, number one, I'm not going to take an entry because this range, I'm still concerned about this range. Prices just keep trying to fade this range. And number two, this could just be two legs up that appear to be forming a trend channel. So what I want to see is I would want to see this bouncing here and going up again before I'm considering this a valid channel to trade. I'm not going to try to take something off this uh, area here. The first reason being because of this range, concern about this range eventually getting faded. And the second reason is because, you could just be getting duped by a fake channel. Um, Now, if you took something there, you probably, if you had the guts to stay in it through all that static, probably got something, but I don't believe it's a good trade to take. Um, so at this point, I'm removing this and there's no direction here right now. So we're just kind of watching prices, hoping that we can um, find a structure that we can rely on to take a trade off of. So that's where I'm at right now, and I'll come back when I got something else for you. All right, everybody, I got an update here for you. So we left off, we were looking at this here. I was talking about how this potentially looked like there could be a trend here, but we were also mindful of these legs. And then once this failed down, I got rid of these lines here because they're just not useful. And then what we got is we got two legs down here. This is not a good place to buy the measured move because you're now, we've spent some time trying to get out of this range and now we've failed back down into it. And so, you could get trapped here. Prices may just be, rolling over back into the range. And so, you don't want to buy that there, my opinion, because the bias is against you. Um, so then what happened is we moved up here and we had this uh, range trend channel forming. And at first I'm trying to I'm trying to hide the price action from you so you can see what I'm thinking in real time as the bars are printing. So at first I had it kind of like this. I had it a little more slanted, a little bit closer down here. This lower high is pretty aggressive to take because when we get two legs down appearing to form um, appearing to form a channel, we're concerned about, of course, it's just two legs, um, and our price is going to bounce, against, our price is going to violate that, phony channel that we have drawn. The other thing here to note is that at this measured move down, we bounced at this level where we bounced before. So that makes it, extra dubious to try to take that as a short. It does work there. And so once we um, once we kind of cancel these two legs, or I guess what should I say? Confirm one instead of once we confirm that these two legs could be a wider channel by the fact that um, it can't get past the trend line area, then we can kind of look at this as a wider channel. But so we'd be waiting for, at that point, had my lines like that, and we were waiting for, maybe two legs back into this area with a good signal. Now that we have indeed confirmed that we want to move down here. So we got this. We couldn't get through the EMA. Okay. Pushed down again, formed this bar, pushed up to this other side of the channel. Um, then we could not get through this trend channel. This is definitely looking valid now because of all the touches we have on both sides. So we pushed down through. Um, Now some people might look at this as an overshoot. I wasn't concerned about it as an overshoot because if you look at, um, we can see we've got wicks pushing through here. So if we would happen to go, and I'll show you on the 1,000 tick chart, if we happen to go to a different time frame, we can see that on the 2,000 tick, these are wicks here, but on the 1,000 tick, we are closing into that area. So prices are, um, you know,
respecting this. So it's not a push through that we have to be concerned about. And it's very, with respect to how big this channel is, it's very minimal. And the fact that we can pull this down and we still have touches on the wicks here uh, means to me it means we haven't violated that. We're not worried about. Hold on, something happened when I flip back through here. Let me refresh because when I flip back through, you can see here I've lost some price action, and that sometimes happens when I flip between the oh, now we're getting double bars. Let me try one more time. I'm not sure why this does this sometimes. It's still doing it right now. So I'll have to check on that. But anyway, I wanted to show you. This is ugly looking because it didn't print like this. But I wanted to show you. I did take a lower high here, which is it's ugly looking right now because of for some reason when we got to here it started printing double bars. Actually, it's printing them elsewhere too. Um, but because we pulled back, I didn't want to take this pin bar. This all looks like one leg to me up into the channel. So um, you can see this line here I have drawn. So this is like a short-term trend channel that's blocking this. Um, and we do get this bar right after that. It does push pretty close to the highs here, but then closes strongly. And so I went with a short there. I did get 5 ticks. Um, and of course, when you're holding this neatly, you're not expecting what it did here. You're expecting, okay, this is held, and now we're gonna, in some fashion, push back down. But for some reason, price decided to go into a little range here. Um, poked back out a couple times. Perhaps what's happening is that we have one leg up, and perhaps we're trying to reach this measured move. But you can see now that this channel has broken, and it's now attempting. I would think in all likelihood this is going to push down to a new low, and may even come back down here to the lows of the range and test that area now. So that's the update I have for you now. I'm not sure why that did that. Um, it's just a glitch in the platform, I guess. Usually these will correct themselves later. Sometimes it's not till the next day. But anyway, just wanted to show that to you. I wasn't able to capture a video. This happened pretty quickly. I wasn't able to start the video, but you can see. I'll show you. You can see where the entry is that I have marked. I went for 5 ticks, and so I did capture this from my uh, P&L. I cut out some proprietary stuff that is personal. I don't want anybody to see, but I did want to show you that uh, you can see from our performance sheet where the entry was. We took the entry at 11:30, and look how quick this was. Entered at 11:30. I was out a second later of that trade um, with 10 contracts. So, and you can see all the performance stuff up here. So you can go back on your own chart and see where I entered there at what time, and where I got out there. So that's all I got for you right now, and I'll update next time I have something else. Hey everybody, I just wanted to give a quick update here because I'm seeing something interesting. All right, so at first we had this move up, really went into a range here, another push up, and then it looked like what we were getting looked like we were getting price action trying to make 2 legs down to the new low. And once this kind of ripped out of there by this candle, I was thinking, okay, we just failed here. And sometimes when you have trends, um, it, if your overall structure for the day is a range, sometimes they don't, they behave a little oddly, and sometimes they don't play out. So this kind of looked like, um, our 2 pushes down to try to make that new low. This we couldn't make the measured leg, which would have put us in new low territory, and we just bounced out of here. But now what I'm considering is maybe we've got 2 bigger legs up here. So if we measure from this low up to this high, and then we have two legs down, and then um, I thought about that once we started pushing off this level and off the overnight high level, and I looked at that. I thought maybe there's a wider, maybe there's a broader two-legged correction out of here. Which, if we look at, if we bring up our fib tool and we look at it like that, so this does poke up into the 61.8 retracement, and then it's pushing down. We'll see. In order for me to be confident that that's happening and that maybe then what we'll get is maybe we'll get this leg down and then maybe we'll get a second leg down that will take us into the overnight low area. Um, but what I want to see is I want to see this start pushing down through the EMA strongly. Looks like we tried to check up here at the EMA and we're kind of hovering around there right now. So um, I wouldn't have taken this as a short just because you have kind of, this isn't always going to be the case. Like sometimes if you draw bigger legs, maybe you can fool yourself into thinking, oh, I'm gonna get it. This is two legs now. I mean, it does fit as two legs, but you have to kind of watch for the price action to play out. It's something to watch, but I wouldn't have taken a trade off of here because this kind of looks to me like this downtrend has failed to make a new low, and now maybe price is trying to push up because we kind of have been a little bit more bullish than bearish within the range for the day. So that's kind of what I'd be concerned about. And we can see here, price is trying to hold this EMA here. At this point, I don't think I'd be looking to take a long, here. It just looks a little too weak to me, especially price bouncing off here. And with having identified, this potential as two legs and how nice that would fit as a second leg down with respect to that first leg down, I want to see something else. I want to see price maybe push out of here and create some kind of trend before I'm thinking about a long right now at this point. So we just kind of have to watch the price action and see what happens. Um, if we get like a couple pushes up here and we fail to push through this level and we get a nice kind of bearish bar rejecting this level again, maybe think about a short if I've got room to the EMA. Um, but we'll just have to see how things play out. But I just wanted to give you that update as I'm seeing it. It's looking right now like it's not wanting to push through the EMA down here. So maybe you'll end up getting like this. And this could just push straight up into a second leg, or maybe you'll get a second leg down and then it'll push up. But we'll just have to watch and see what happens with the price action.
Okay, everyone, let's kind of go over where we're at here now. Some time has passed. So when I left off, we were around this area, and I was saying about we had this little bounce here, and I wasn't sure if this was going to end up being a two-legged break for this downtrend, or maybe this was going to hold and push up out of here. So what ended up happening is I don't see any trading here. That's pretty ugly, pretty congested, and you have all this up here that you've got to, if you're thinking about a long, you get all that to get through. But what ended up happening is this little move up did create two legs and then push to a new high, but because it's a range day, um, then we got this second leg down. Unfortunately, on that second leg down, we just get this one-legged break and then don't even get like a lower high or anything. It just pushes down to a new low. And there we hit the measured move then at that point from this move down. And then push out of the overnight lows here. So always have to be careful about continuing with the direction whenever you've pushed out of the lows. Now, some people will, there's two, this is like a non-trading area here. Number one, um, you've already got this downtrend break, a new low, even if you consider this a wider channel, because this is kind of a thin break, although you can clearly see it. Um, the issue is now you're coming off the overnight lows. So the expectation is we've made two big legs down to this area. So the expectation is we're going to start trying to go in the other direction. So to decide to take a short here is kind of not a great idea. And you can see on the next bar, we almost, if we would have taken that, we would almost get stopped out. Um, so somebody who would go. Now there are other people who think this is a good place to take a reversal because there's teachers out there who teach that this is looks like a reversal pattern when you have things played out to the downside and then you get like one attempt, two attempts, and then you get what looks like a good signal bar that could fool people. Um, you'll get people that say, "Oh, you should, go long right here on this reversal pattern," but it doesn't even reverse. So if you would have got into that and it would have ticked up, you would have got stopped out. And I always talk about these types of what people call reversals. These are just short-term trends. When they set up like this, these are just short-term trends, and so you're actually unknowingly people are going long into this high, this trend. What happens is sometimes it breaks on them and then it might even end up going higher, but the trend breaks and pushes down. So that's what happens here. Maybe this was a wider channel, but the other thing that if you are not real advanced and you are pattern trading, one thing that I would always recommend doing is drawing your short-term trend lines. So you can see that if you start a trend line off the low, like if you get this and then you see this, I would start drawing a trend line off this swing here, and you can see clearly this fits both sides, and this trade here, potential entry someone might take, is getting blocked by this trend line. So that would even keep you out of it, understanding that you might be getting trapped to the wrong side. But just seeing that this is a downtrend break, new low, number one. Number two, you're into the overnight lows. Uh, Shorts are off the table at this point. Now, if looks like we are pushing down further, like we failed to fade into this range. So looks like we're pushing down further. Now, if we would get some sort of like strong momentum down way out of the channel, then maybe you could look for a maybe a broader trend, but this is still, to me, this is still a no trade zone for a short because this can definitely um, prices can definitely still fade back in here into this range. I mean, you can see over here how much we pushed out. We failed to pull down in, pushed out again, pushed even higher still, and it looked kind of bullish because prices were failing to make their way back into the range, but eventually they did. So um, you always have to respect this range until like if this had pushed down here and bounced right out of there and kept continuing higher because we did have this trend drawn, then maybe you could say that the prices have failed to fade into the range and the bulls are winning out and pushing prices higher. But the fact is all day today, it's almost 2 o'clock with 2 hours left in the market, and the range has just dominated the day. So there's no reason to think that, you know, prices can't push back in here, which it looks like they're trying to do strongly on this bar. So I'd be interested in the long if we could get some nice momentum up in here, and then you get two legs back to the EMA or something, or we get a nice trend forming, and then you get a correction. But we'll see. There's nothing to do right now, in my opinion. We're just this is played out, and prices are trying to fade back up into the range. And it looks like the bears right now are trying to resist that, but we'll see what happens. So another update for you if something occurs, or at this late in the day, it might just be an end of day kind of update. We'll see. All right, everybody, quick update here. It's been about an hour that's passed. We were around this area.
trying to see if prices would fade back up into this range after breaking out here. I want to give you this. I just wanted to show you again about how trying to form wider channels off of two legs is a mistake. So we can see here that we got these two legs up. Wouldn't be looking to short anything because we're expecting that prices will try to push higher. So we're shorting this, even though you'll see that it works, would be going against the momentum of the price action. Now we get these two legs up, we get these two legs down, and now it looks like we can draw a wider channel off here, right? Looks like that fits there, that fits there. And so what people do is they'll try to enter this, right? They'll try to enter that thinking, okay, we've got two legs down here and we're pushing back up. But what happens is you barely get in that thing, traps you down. Now this could have very easily gone one more tick and hit this stop here, because that's where you would, the way we're trading, that's how I would have, that's where I would have my stop. And where a lot of traders, the way a lot of price action traders trade. Uh, you know, Fortunately, if you did that, you had it didn't hit your stop, and depending on where you had your target or what you were expecting to get out of that, you at least had an opportunity to scratch out of that trade if you could recognize the error. But very shortly thereafter, you know, that channel just totally breaks down, and now price is looking to go lower here. So this whole area right here is really just a big mess. And all this stuff is just inside all these other bars. There's no there's no trends like breaking out of here or anything. All this price action is kind of just inside all this other stuff. So after we came down here to the end of the range and broke out, we just didn't price just couldn't decide what it wanted to do, and so it's still kind of in limbo here. So, I haven't taken anything else. There's nothing else that I see here that's worthy of trying to take anything. So, again, just in holding pattern here, waiting to see if we get price to establish some direction, whether it's further down, whether it bounces and goes up, or whether it, shows us some kind of range here at the bottom. But, there's nothing really going on right now. So, 45 minutes left to go to close. I'll probably just give a end of day update then when after that happens. All right, everybody. We are finishing up for today. Um, and like I said, we were here just kind of in this junk. I drew a little range here, but nothing really held. Um, and then with about 10 minutes to go, we started actually trending. And unfortunately, this here break comes at right into the close. So there's no chance to get anything here. This you can see down there, like this bar here is already into the close. So these two legs, it didn't end up even finishing well. And who's to say if that would have finished different if um, you didn't have that spiky volume because of being in the close. So I would still expect that it may take some time because the volume is going to die down a ton here into the close, but I would still expect that this is probably going to make a new low here after these two measured legs up with this strong push down. But unfortunately, with this being into the close, just can't take anything. Had this been, an hour ago or whatever, and we finished like this, I might be looking for price to push down here and maybe give us a lower high um, to get in with that second push down to the new low. But that would be what I was think is gonna happen. Still think price may push down here to a new low before something resets and um, we go higher and try to fade back up. Um, and that might be like this may even push a little bit higher here, and then drop. But we've got the two legs up here to look for that second move down. Um, but too bad it's into the close. So that's pretty much it for today. I'll just take one more kind of broad look at the chart for today. Get rid of that. Get rid of my little timestamp makeshift here. Yeah, so not a whole lot of action today. It's enough to, if things would have set up, it wasn't super boring. But there you go. That's kind of a look at it for the day. And we were able to call some stuff out here. Um, as the video progressed. So I'll be back to do it again tomorrow. And thanks for watching. Hope you're finding value in these videos. Take care.